Welcome back. Chapter 5, Video 1, Industrialization. Now this is going to be a chapter that is fairly short. There's only going to be 4 videos, and the reason it's going to be so short is last year you guys talked a lot in world history about the Industrial Revolution, so we're not going to keep going over the same material year after year, but it's important to talk about the economy of the United States during this industrialization and the important events and the important people that kind of helped shape American history. But before we start getting into the notes, the joke of the day. So this joke comes to you from Hunter Lind. His joke: why did the broom not make it to class? The reason? He overswept. So, as always, take it in. But now we're going to start getting into industrialization. So U.S. industrialization. Now industrialization got to the United States kind of about the early 1800s. But it really takes quite a bit of time for it to actually take off. The cities, they're starting to industrialize a little bit more. They're starting to build more factories. But the reality, most people are still working on farms or in smaller shops. And kind of talking about that, by the start of the Civil War in the 1860s, 30 million people lived in the United States. About 1.3 million were working in industrialized factories or industrialized settings. Now, after the Civil War, millions of Americans, they are going to leave their farms and they're going to start to work in factories and they're going to start to work in mines. Now, this is kind of the first time we have a time period of urbanization where people by and far, they're migrating to the larger cities, they're working in factories, and we'll talk more about kind of what the bigger cities are going to start to offer. But after the Civil War, just know that this is really when industrialization, that's when it's going to start to take off. And the reason it starts to take off is we have a lot of interest in foreign countries, foreign companies, and even companies in the United States, realizing that the U.S., they have a vast amount of natural resources. I mean, they have timber, coal, iron, copper. They have all these different resources that are here sitting in the United States. Now, American companies are starting to realize we have all these resources, but up until this time, we have been paying foreign countries to bring that here into the United States. Now, why pay to bring that into the United States when you already have it here in your own country? You don't have to pay the different fees, exportation and tariffs and things like that. So the vast amount of natural resources means that these companies, they're going to be able to obtain these resources and obtain them very cheaply. And that is going to be good for business. It's going to be good for consumers. It's going to be good for most of the people living in the United States at that time. So because of that reason, we start to have more and more entrepreneurs. More people are starting to create their own business because these natural resources, they are in our country and they're going to start to take advantage of it. Now over here in this image on the right, this is Edwin Drake. And he is the first person to drill for oil. And I know here in western North Dakota, we've seen some of oil wells and things like that. Now, this is going to be the first one in Pennsylvania. Now, this was kind of the start of the oil boom, the natural resources, but it was founded in Pennsylvania, and they noticed the oil was bubbling up. It was on the land, and because of that reason, Edwin Drake, he gets there in the early 1900s, and it's really just going to start to take off there. And the reason that ties into all this is technology changes the way that people are going to live. And I know that is a very, very broad statement. Just like today, we live off of technology. And that's not going to be new. Technology is always going to be changing. It's always going to be revolutionizing. Now, our technology is going to be, what kind of phone do you have? Or the latest iPad or things like that. For them, it was going to be they have cameras. They have refrigerators. They have factories that are going to be able to run and operate 24/7. They have, all these different inventions that are going to be coming around at this time period, and technology is going to start to change the way that people are going to be living. And the last one, as I said, pretty short video, is going to be free enterprise. Now, America, we are going to be one of the largest free enterprise countries in the world. And at this time period, the Americans, they are going to start to embrace a policy known as laissez-faire, which is this right here, laissez-faire. Now, this is a French philosophical term, and you don't need to write this down, but this is what it's going to stand for. Let the people do as they choose. Now, how is this going to relate to the economy? Fans of laissez-faire oftentimes believe that a government is going to hurt an economy. And what I mean by that, they're going to raise taxes. They are going to start different inspections. And all this because the government is going to be involved prices of finished goods are going to start to go up. So fans of laissez-faire believe that government should have absolutely no control over the economy. The people, they are going to choose. If they want to start a factory, fine, go ahead. If they want to start a business that is going to be cutting down trees in the forest, laissez-faire says absolutely go ahead and do it. And the reason that they believe that this is going to be good is if you have all these different people who are wanting to start the same company, prices, they go down. And they're going to keep going down lower and lower and lower. Competition drives prices lower. If you sell something for $5, someone is going to go and sell it for $2. But based on that, they're going to rely on supply and demand. So this is going to help regulate wages, their finished goods and prices. All this is going to be basically through this laissez-faire. To help out with that, state and federal government, they do keep taxes low. Now, taxes are low, spending is going to be low. All this is going to be kind of a good thing for the economy. But the one thing that they do that is going to hurt them, Congress does decide to raise tariffs. Now, they do this because it believes that they are going to help out with the European powers. Now, Europe, we already know they already have this economy, this massive global economy. And they are taxing America. They are taxing us through tariffs. Now, when we sell goods to them and they have high tariffs, that hurts us. So Congress decides we are going to retaliate, we are going to raise tariffs on them as well. Now, you can probably guess as soon as we raise tariffs on them, what's their response going to be? They raise it on the other hand. So basically it's going to be, we're starting off here, we're going to keep getting higher and higher and higher and higher. It's going to be a competition, but this hurts foreign trade because these companies that want to do business, they want to send overseas to Europe, they have to pay more money. But historians look at it as something that needed to be done. In order to become a global superpower in the economy, tariffs did have to increase.